Hi, I'm Sophie.
Hi, I'm Paul.
And we are SP Film Viewers.
So, here we have our second Christmas-themed episode of 2020.
I really wanted something light-hearted. I think that was where I was at with everything going on in the world. It's a case of you want something to bring you a little bit of joy, and I didn't want a film that was going to make me sad, which sometimes Christmas films can. And I wanted that bit of magic, I think, was what I wanted.
Well, I'd mentioned to you about this film that was on Disney Plus called Noelle, which I looked into, and it was actually released last year in the States on, I presume, Disney Plus, or came out in the same, but it only came to us over here in the UK this year. So I'm thinking, oh, this must be like a new thing that had come out and we hadn't seen. I'm thinking, oh, this looks okay in the fact that it's got Anna Kendrick and Bill Hader on the image poster, whatever you want to call it. So thinking, well, give it a try.
So neither one of us have seen this yet again, putting a bit of a curveball in, and it was a case of we didn't know, we hadn't really watched a trailer. The only bit we did read was like that little bit, you get. Basically, that's it. That's all we knew of it. And
yeah, so we're kind of going in blind, not knowing really what the story was, but within about 5 minutes, you kind of know exactly what the story is going to play out. In fact, I'm not going to say spoiler warning because you'll know as soon as you get right into it, you know what's going to happen.
Well, to be fair, I read it, didn't I? And I was like, oh, I know what's going to happen here. And you were like, really? Do you think that's where they're going to go? And I'm like, yeah, it pretty much is. And I think it's one of those things where it is kind of now being an alternative thing, isn't it? Where we had a couple of options as well, which was Home Alone 3. I'm not sure I know. I love Home Alone 1 and 2. I don't know if I want to ruin it by watching 3. I've never seen it, but I've heard such bad things about it that I just don't want to ruin that branch, kind of like of the Home Alone 1 and 2 with.
Yeah.
Even though it's not even the same kid and the baddies are not even the same, but it's just like I just don't want to tarnish that. There were some other ones as well that you pointed out, wasn't there? One was really sad, and I was like, I don't think that's for me this year.
Yeah, the other option was How About You, which is the rare instance of a Christmas film that I've seen, but Sophie hadn't seen. Normally, it'd probably be the other way around. But as I recall, it was when I saw it ages and ages ago. The story was about, I think it was quite a little bit sad. So I don't think it might have been the best thing to put on this time around.
I definitely didn't want to cry. Obviously, you want to feel emotions around Christmas time, but more the giving and being thoughtful and thankful and not being apart and alone. We've had enough of that this year, having to experience it firsthand.
Yep.
That why would I want to watch it? So, Noelle.
Yep.
First of all, she's Poppy from the Trolls from me, and I love Poppy from the Trolls. She's amazing. She's got that voice where it's quite magical, the way that she talks, and
a lot of enthusiasm.
Yes.
For this.
But overall in the Trolls as well, I know you're not a big fan of the Trolls, so you probably haven't actually seen it. She's like that in there. She's so enthusiastic, loves everything. It's like she would be one of my really good best friends. I would love it. Especially in this movie, she was like Miss Christmas, which is me in like a nutshell, isn't it, really?
Pretty much, yeah. You're very much big on the whole Christmas.
It's my favourite time of the year. I love it to bits. I love the lights, I love the decorations, I love the fact of being that, that one thoughtful present that you give somebody. That's to sum it up, and I think this is what this film gives me. So as Paul was sat there looking grumpy and being like, oh God, rolling his eyes.
What have I got myself into with this? It was I mean, going in and then it's like already starting with like Christmas puns, and I'm like, oh god, no.
Which is really weird for you to say, because to be fair, it didn't bother me whatsoever. But like you laugh at puns normally, like you're not bothered about them in like rubbish films that are classed as comedies that are not even funny. Whereas these puns weren't too bad, or maybe it's because I got them. I don't know if that's what it was.
It was just more like, here's a line from that I saw Mummy kissing Santa Claus, and you know, that's the father kissing the mother, and that
he's
kind of
Santa
parallel.
Claus,
So it's like, yeah, why?
I didn't
why
mind that.
this?
That didn't bother
I don't
me.
know.
No, I thought it was
And,
clever.
was it oh my garland is like instead of oh my god?
I didn't even
And
clock that.
It's like,
I was so going to start saying that now just to annoy you. It's so funny. You weren't impressed, were you, really? This is more going to be you slagging it off and me going, but Paul, it was so magical. And it started off, right? Let's just say this. I already was enjoying myself.
Mm-hmm.
So literally, we should have taken a photo of one another, because it was me sat there with a big beamer on my face, dead chuffed and excited. And then Paul's like sat there with his arms folded, eyes not impressed. And we did actually pause it, didn't we? Had a little break in the middle and was like, oh, we'll just get something nice to nibble on. And you were like, oh yeah, let's just pause it. And I'm thinking, oh, I bet he's going to say to me he doesn't even want to resume it, because he does this to me. Where he's like, oh, this is naff, I don't want to watch it. However, I don't think I get that choice.
We're doing this for review purposes, so that's why I didn't turn it off. Normally, if it wasn't on that circumstances of doing that, then
Would you have really turned it off?
I think I would have done, because it was just
No, but I really liked it. I really did. It started off with Santa and his sleigh.
I'm all for Christmas cheer and all that, but this is just
so much Christmas cheer,
like candy coated, dripping with the gushiness of it all, and it's just a bit.
Did you not feel any attachment to it? Like,
no, it was just really, really sickly sweet in the way it was going to come across with everything. I think it's.
Did it not make you feel like you'd got Christmas spirit and like cheer? No, not make you feel fuzzy inside.
Can't say that it did really.
Not even at the end.
It was a little bit of glimmer of hope at the end with it, but we'll get to that as we go along.
It was devastating me, yeah. So, anybody who's got children, I would say, would absolutely love this. Even it got some adult-worthy kind of parts as well. I think it's a family pleaser. I definitely think it's that.
Based on what the outcome is really, and the whole thing of how the story plays out, do you think this would confuse kids a little bit?
No, not one bit. Well,
based on how, it's all about very much about the tradition of things and then breaking that mold.
It is breaking that mold, but it's still within like the family, though. It's passed down, so it's not like, for example, just a random person they're picking out.
No,
I feel like now we're at that stage of where it's not just men that have to fit into this role, and so to speak. And I think it's like, say for example, let's say my dad was a farmer and he's got a farm, and I'm his only child. Is he gonna find somebody else to replace it, or is he gonna give it to his daughter? And I think more and more that is now happening, where women can do exactly the same as men. You're not that special, I'm sorry. Any strong man always has an amazing woman behind them, encouraging them. Or, doesn't have to be a woman. Anybody who's got somebody that's with them that will be pushing them and driving them. And I think this is the thing. Anybody can do whatever they want. And that's what I think this story gives you.
That's what it's trying to come across as the main focal point, isn't it? Like averting sexism and the prejudice of, oh, you can't do this, because that's not how it's been for...
It's what's in your heart. I think that's what it was kind of, the icky gooey icing kind of that Paul doesn't like, because it was too sickly sweet. But actually the meaning behind it was like, it was heart meant, like she could see certain things that she had that Santa, her dad, had, where she could talk to any child.
Yeah, there's a bit of exposition there at the start, wasn't there? Like, oh, if you're Santa, you can understand all children of all languages and everything. And then there's a sequence where she meets, when she goes into like the real world, i.e. away from the North Pole to find a brother who's gone on way because he doesn't want a responsibility of all of it. And she meets up with, in this like homeless shelter, a child who's deaf and does sign language. And suddenly she knows how to do sign language, and she doesn't understand why she can do that, but it's obviously, well, there you go, that's quality. Therefore, you are going to be the new Santa, because the other one can't understand.
I already clocked it anyways. I put the other Santa doesn't have any Christmas spirit. He doesn't really care for the role himself. He's not really attached to it. He's more seen as like a job, like a chore, like going to work. And it's like, how can giving gifts to children feel that way? But he's so stressed and burnt out by it all that he's just not there.
Yeah. And his role his presence within the film isn't as strong. Bill Hader's normally quite good in the roles he does. He's not much to work with in this. I know he doesn't really appear on the screen that much anyway, but
he's a bit of a wet lettuce, to be fair, isn't he?
But he's not. Doesn't come across a great character in this.
I wasn't really fond of him, to be honest, really, with his character.
Tried, but it's just
Noelle, however, Poppy from the Trolls, she's your main lady. And at the beginning, she seems a little bit spoiled, a little bit like they call her a princess, don't they? And
yes. Over enthused about it all and everything, and feel like she's got the privilege, with the discount of everything and that she has and everything. But
and she doesn't really care for other people as much. She's more kind of.
She even says about the presents, which I know a lot of people can be at this time of year. It's just, well, how many piles of gifts am I going to get?
Mm-hmm. Whereas it should be more the giving. That's what Christmas is about, and I think this is what this movie shows you, that the giving side of things should feel more special, like giving that person that one amazing gift that they're gonna love. It's like that kind of should consume your body with love, and I think it was more what we need at the moment is joy, hope. It gave you in this film, it gave you a bit of happiness. It was light-hearted and lovely and a bit fluffy, and I think for me it hit the nail on the head for a new Christmas movie, especially for 2020, because it's been a hell of a year. It's like everybody can't wait to see the back of this year, hoping that it'll be a bit better in 2021. And it's like, so this little nugget, even though it's being out in America or whatever, they always get everything first.
Not always, but
it was for me a real joy to watch. Paul's like pulling a funny face at me at the moment, but it really was. And my highlight, snow cone.
The very, very poorly CGI deer.
Reindeer.
Yeah, reindeer.
Not just a deer, he's a reindeer. Do you really think he was poorly CGI?
I don't know. It just really, I don't know, just a bit sketchy on the.
He was so cute. Yeah. He was adorable.
And the other reindeer as well.
I didn't really look at those. I was too busy focusing on little bitty snow cone. Not going to lie. If I could have a teddy of that, I'd have it.
Probably hasn't been merchandise of that, really, to be honest. But
so cute. So cute. Bless him. He's like literally a mini Noelle. Like, wants to just do his best, wants to participate in Christmas as much as possible. And just wants to get his little paws dirty and fly the sleigh. And obviously, now normally they say on Dasher, don't they?
Yeah.
Well, now it's on snow cone, so that's the new thing.
Yeah, it's the new reindeer, isn't it? So
yeah. So like now when there's a pub quiz, what we're gonna do? Like, how many reindeers is there? Do you include Snow Cone and Rudolph? Because really, Rudolph, you only use him when it's foggy or it's a bad night.
Yeah, as tradition tells you.
Yeah, and Snow Cone, I think, only when New Santa.
Only for this story. The purpose of this story.
Stop being such a bully. You're so mean about this film. So I want to ask a little bit and probe you.
Okay.
Kind of a little bit, because there's no point in me banging on about how amazing it is. When there's somebody sat there pulling a load of faces at me. So, A, do you not care about Christmas and giving presents? And B, do you think it's...
Whoa, hold on.
Okay, so
one at a time.
A, do you get the meaning behind the film of the giving a gift? and it being special, and that's the meaning of Christmas.
Yes, I get that element of it. I wrote down, like, I think the quote was, "It's not about the presents you get, it's the presents you give."
Yes.
I can't quite recall if there was another bit after that, but I saw that also meaning the other wording of presence, i.e. the presence of somebody being there in front of you.
Oh, okay.
So therefore, because like it's because she was on about like how some people have like no homes and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and so how important it is to interact with the people over the Christmas period. It's not just the gifts and lights and all that stuff. So there's that aspect to it. I kind of saw.
Yes, 100%.
So
yeah.
there's a message there for sure.
And I think it's more read this way this year as well, because we've been so kind of unpresent with everybody, not out of our own choices, but literally just being there with family and loved ones has been taken away.
Yeah.
So it's kind of maybe that's what's also highlighted that for you. I do think the ending, it didn't make you well, and I'm not sure why.
Do you mean in the part when she's giving that sort of speech and she says that line? Because I don't know what else there was to be whelming at, if any.
I think that was it, and the fact of, like you're saying, with the loved ones, like the deaf girl wanting her mum to have a job. So things like, not just materialistic at the end of the day, people want these gifts where they like want to spend time with their loved ones, they want to help their loved ones be happy and be secure. And I think it's more that got me, and then the fact that they thought she was good enough to be Santa, even though she's not a man and she's not fat and she's not got a beard.
Yeah, they were obviously quite accepting of her, which I think was the film was trying to heavily lay on that factor of. I think now I looked at some people weren't happy about this for some reason, so I guess they're like some of the characters in this film where they're like, oh, that can't happen, and therefore giving it bad praise on that factor, because it's like the fact that they can't accept that this Santa is a man with a beard and fat, full stop, that's it.
No, I don't think that's the case. Things have to change, things have to move on, and it's a case of Santa is a person and it's a thing of giving.
Yeah.
And if anybody can give, then it can be anybody.
Yeah.
I could be Santa.
So what I'm saying basically is I'm not siding with those people thinking that's writing that off. This is how this story's played out. I accept that's how the story is. But I'm just pointing out the fact that it's very much heavily laying on the fact that going for a feminine Santa and things should change, not having to be how they've always been and what people are always accustomed to, and just change things up a bit. So I'm accepting of that as a part of the story, but that is majority what you see from the upstart of the film, and that's exactly how it's going to turn out.
You do, but I think it's nice to see the way it turns out in the end. You can kind of see these little odd parts that are going to happen, and certain things where you think, yeah, she definitely should be Santa, and she's so worthy of being Santa. And I think if I was a lot younger, I'd be really, as a little girl, I'd be really happy to see a female Santa.
That feeling of empowerment.
Yeah.
Of that.
And I think it's a case of, she doesn't have to be fat and jolly and have a beard, She really
be a bit weird if she did, but yeah.
Yeah. And I can imagine me as a little girl really looking up to her and wanting to be the next Santa, I guess. There's that thing of showing anything is achievable if you put your mind to it. However, I don't know what the boys would think. I don't know if they would be a different perspective. But for any little girl, I think they would want to be her. She's pretty. It's like any little girl wants to be Elsa. So now they're going to want to be Noelle because they can be Santa and have reindeers and have a sleigh and all of that and live in the North Pole. It's like...
If you really love Christmas, yeah.
Who doesn't? A lot of people don't, and I don't understand why. It's like, I just don't get it. It's like, this film is the essence of Christmas for me, and I think that's what I love about it. It's got that little bit of magic, and it reminds me a lot of... I think you've seen it and you didn't really appreciate it then, and I think this is why I love it so much, is the Santa Claus with Tim the Toolman Taylor.
I've seen bits. maybe.
You've seen bits and you kind of dragged kicking and screaming to watch it a little bit, I think, with me, because I've grown up with that when I was little. It's got the same feeling of the North Pole. It's got the same feeling of Santa, and it's the same principle as well, because Santa falls off his chimney, and then anyone who finds Santa then has to become Santa. That's how it works. So somebody else is taking so it does remind me a lot of the Santa Claus.
Yeah. No, interesting enough. A couple of films that kind of take elements from this film but do it better, and that being Arthur Christmas for one of them. Same sort of principle, isn't it? Like, the runs in the family, who's going to take over the next role and all that stuff, and then there's the whole thing with that. The other one being Elf, which is that kind of like fish out of water kind of thing that you know, when she's going into Phoenix, Arizona, and it's kind of like, trying to adapt with everything, and she doesn't quite understand the real world because she's just all she's known is the North Pole, and it's
and it's sugar coated and it's candy caned and it's all of that, and then she comes into the real world and it's a bit more daunting,
like, scared and
not
confused.
As bad as Elf though. I guess it's Elf kind of. I love Elf to bits, don't get me wrong, but I feel like sometimes the comedy on that is just a little bit cringe for me on Elf, where he's like,
well, it's Will Ferrell, so
and it's like, oh my god, nobody would do that. But I do love it to bits. But no, I can see where you're coming from with the resemblances. I would say if I had to pick, Arthur Christmas at the moment is quite up there for me. We do have a cat called Arthur, so it was quite funny. I think we watched it last year, didn't we? Because
we'd got him at around the 7th December last year, so
he's going to be 1 today. Well, he's not, because bless him, we got him from the Cats Protection, didn't we? And
so as of recording this, he'll have been 1 year with us as of tomorrow.
Our little Arthur Christmas, that's what I call him.
Because he is all white and everything, so
he is. He's a little snowball. No, snow cone. No.
What was your other question? Was that relating to what we just said?
I think it was more relating to the female aspect of it. What did you think of the other Santa that kind of had to step in a little bit? And only was like, there's 27 good children or something ridiculous.
2,000 something or other, like. Yeah, that's obviously trying to do a modern twist on things, like we're using our tech to whittle it down to a thing to make it all like streamlined and cost effective, that kind of thing. It's just
getting a drone in
or something. Yeah, that kind of like no.
Partnering up with Amazon
or something like that. Yeah. Although here we go with another thing that really grated on me.
I feel like can I guess?
Come.
Was it to do with the iPads?
Oh yes, it was to do with the iPads. Mentioning every chance they could get. Drop of a hat. Oh, throw an iPad.
I knew you were going to say that.
Oh, what do you want for Christmas? Oh, it's an iPad. An iPad. Were they sponsored? Apple sponsoring them or something? I don't understand. And also, they're making out like iPad is this hot new thing. It's been around for like 10 years now. Is this really still a popular product that people buy people for Christmas? There are other tablets, I know, but
Oh, but you know what iPhone's like? It's amazing, isn't it, what they do? I'm sorry, I'm not an iPhone person.
Android all the way. But
and I think that was another thing. It's like, fair enough, like a Kindle or a phone or something like that. They did try and make things a little bit more modern, and I've noticed that kind of annoyed me a little bit, because it's like, I know she didn't know what a phone was, but she knew what an iPad. Oh no, she didn't have a phone, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's right.
She didn't have a phone and such, and she didn't have an iPad or anything like that. But I think it just, I don't know.
Everyone was asking for an iPad, so she must have had loads at the workshop.
I think it just steps into a little bit of out of the magical, a little bit with the tech and stuff like that. For me, it was like,
yeah,
I feel like Christmas should be. I know that sounds daft. It shouldn't be about that. So I think when it was like on about iPads and stuff like that, it's like I associate Christmas with elves making toys, but like there was another scene, wasn't there, where they were all queuing up for Santa?
Yeah, and these, I don't know, well, obviously these kids are of an age to believe in Santa Claus. But what, like maybe, 5, 6?
7, 8-ish,
yeah. Queuing up, and they're going, Santa, look at my phone, I've got an email from you saying, thing like, call me old-fashioned or old footed, whatever you want to say, but kids of that age shouldn't be having mobile phones
Like
with email accounts and stuff like that.
But any account now that has a phone needs an email account, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you think about it, because how do you get onto your Play Store? How do you get onto your...
all that stuff. So it's I don't know, just it's so strange that the world we're living in, the kids are now just having these devices that they can just,
it's so
free
bizarre,
access to, yeah.
Isn't it? Because it's like, it's going to be one of those challenges if we ever do have children, to know when is the right time. And I don't think any adult or any parent knows when the right time is to let their children...
Probably about 2 years old, as the years goes on.
Educational games and stuff like that, I'm fine with that. But like social media and being on your phone and texting and ringing, I just think you're a kid. You need to enjoy that childhood so much, because once you're an adult, you're an adult for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And you're not a child for very long. And it's like, so I would be playing with mud, I would do all of that fun stuff and sand and be a child. I think that's what I'd want. I think so. That's the concept for me, where the elves are not making toys. It seemed a bit bizarre, but I guess that's more and more the case. Like, I was playing Barbies. I think you can pick on me if you want. I don't care, but I've turned out fine. So I think I was about 12, and I still had Barbies. I was a very, very late developer with kind of growing up, and I don't regret it at all. Like, I believed in Santa for a long, long time. Like, my dad, actually, there's a funny story. My dad, I think there was a lot of rumours at school where people were saying Santa's not real and all of that. And I really didn't want to believe them. And my dad I think he was trying to be kind, because I was a lot older than I should have been. And my dad sat me down on my bed and was talking to me. And he actually said, he told me that I think he was protecting me so that I wouldn't get bullied at school, because everyone else was like, got to that age where they were cooler for that. And Santa doesn't exist. Children, he does exist.
Very surprised if children listen to this, but yeah, sure.
He does. So my dad's trying to tell me that Santa doesn't exist, and I must have been definitely on the naughty list for the step that I did next. I went, because my dad was knelt down and I was sat on my bed.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me this, yeah. I
kicked my dad in his balls, should I say, or private
Jingle
areas.
balls.
It's like, how dare you say that to me? How dare you? Because Santa's real. So why are you telling me a lie, Dad? Why are you lying to me? So just you wait, Paul. If we ever have children, she's going to be sassy and she's going to kick you.
I'll wear a cup.
Yeah, wear a cup, definitely.
Anyway.
So, yeah, I thought you'd love that, everybody. So I think that's one of the things where I think this film, for me, yeah, it's good. It has its magical parts and it definitely has its Christmas elements. Is it too modern for me? Yes, maybe I'm old-fashioned and I want the elves to be making toys. And the elves weren't even small.
No, they were another annoying aspect as well. They were just constantly singing and, it's just gets on my nerves a little bit. And there was one part where I think they were all sort of like moping around the workshop or wherever they were with the elf council or something.
That's because Psycho Santa had joined in now.
Yeah. And there was this weird like blues melody thing going on, and
I thought you'd have liked that. I don't know.
But then there's this one. I don't know. It was just out of. He was like, "Why, Santa? Why are you going to the thing?" I don't know. It was just like, what is going on? It's just sound like someone just talking over this. What's supposed to be a song or something? I don't know. And it's like panning over, and it's just that's part of the song apparently.
It was.
It's like I don't know. Just
it was
what
creating a mood for you, Paul, wasn't it? Like, not an annoyance. It shouldn't.
It was annoying.
It shouldn't have made you annoyed. You should have been feeling sorry for them.
No,
that's
really
what it was portraying. He really doesn't get this film, and I don't get it because he's a smart man. So I don't understand why you didn't appreciate it.
It's not I don't get the film. It's just the content of it just didn't sit right with me. It's just not. engaging or entertaining. Really, it was just.
This is the best Christmas present for me, and I'm not even going to lie. I sound horribly cruel, but I love the fact that you did not enjoy this. I really do, because I've never seen you complain about a film as much. And I think, to be fair, I've had my days where I've watched so many films that have been utter tripe. Now, I would recommend anyone to go out and watch Noelle. It's on Disney Plus. It's brilliant. It's lovely if you want in a Christmas fun, cheer, happiness, joy, which none of things that Paul has, obviously.
It's not true. It's just I just didn't gel with this particularly. So
it's not a happy joy person. Whereas I'm like one of those that will be singing "Oh Christmas Tree" while the tree grows up. Paul's just like, yeah, just don't show any emotions. Keep them all inside.
Right, okay, so I guess
I think you should
I
go.
I know you're going to say I'll score first, yeah.
Let me just get comfy. And I've got a book ready to hit you, because you do know there is a naughty and nice list, and Santa checks it twice.
Yeah, he mentioned that in the in the first thing, just to rub that in as well.
Do you know, I could be Santa now, because female Santas are a thing, and I miss Christmas and I love it. So I would be careful with how you score this, because this might mark you on the naughty list, and you don't want to get coal for Christmas. We don't have a coal fire. It'd be really a pointless present. So just have a think about that.
You're not going to change my.
Have a think about that.
Of that. You're not going to change that. I'm sorry.
Please don't mark it lower than like a 5. It better be higher than a 2.
It's higher than a 2, yes.
Come on, snow cone is like that.
No.
Makes it 2 points.
Doesn't. Right, so before I say what the score is, I will say.
If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all.
I do have something nice to say.
Okay.
The fact of where I said about it's not about the presents you get, it's the presents you give, and I taking it also meaning of the presents of the being there in person factor is a nice little part of it that works. The fact that Anna Kendrick plays the role of Noelle very well, and I believe that her personality truly reflects almost her as I can imagine her as a person being that like enthusiastic about Christmas, so she very much fit the lead role very well.
Mm-hmm.
But that is all I can really say about it. Really, the other acts and everything were just a bit not vested in you or anything like that. Just this one isn't for me. Sorry to say that. No offense to people who do really love like the colourful Christmas films, but I'm gonna give it a 4. That's being generous.
Bah, humbug. This doesn't feel like a very Christmassy episode. This is meant to be Christmas, Paul. The season for giving and caring and loving.
Not injuring your dad.
Well, he shouldn't tell people fibs, should he? That's the principle of that one. Don't lie to your children.
But every parent does, in that regard.
Santa's real.
And what is your score going to be, Miss Christmas?
Don't be so sarcastic, Mr. Scrooge. I'm not going to be highly marking it up there. You are right. Poppy from the Trolls is amazing. She's definitely Christmas. Do you know, she's 35 years old. She looks so young.
Yeah, I wouldn't class her as that old, to be honest.
She's dinky and pretty and looks about 22. So like not half her age, but you know what I mean. Like literally you could knock 10 years off her.
Yeah.
I think she plays a brilliant role. She makes me absorb Christmas, and it's just magical. It's fun. It's colourful. Yeah, there's some cheesy lines, but who doesn't like a little bit of cheese around Christmas?
People who are lactose intolerant.
I knew you were going to say that. And I think definitely a nice new spin on the North Pole. It's kind of nice to have like this little North Pole village and everything like that. So I love that kind of concept behind it. I do think the iPads, things like that, and the technology did get a little bit annoying.
Well, the iPads in it. I don't think I got that element. I must have missed that.
And I think it does have a really nice ending for me. It's that fluffy kind of ending, you know, that I used to always love. It's like my ideal ending.
Yeah, it's how you like your things wrapped up in a little bow. Yep.
Yeah, all perfect. So I also like the idea of a female Santa. I don't think there's an issue with that. I think that's a really good concept.
I don't have an issue with that factor at all. That's just how the story is.
But I like the idea of it, and I really got excited when I read it, and I thought, oh, straight away I knew where it might have been going, and I was happy that it did go down that route as well. So I think with all that in mind, it's a really good message behind it, and I always love a good message. You're right with the fact that she was your main character. There wasn't any really other attachments to any of the other character developments. There was maybe that one that she met and he helped her out, didn't he, when she helped him with his son.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of nicely blossomed a little bit. But you weren't really attached to them, so to speak. The main one was Noelle. I feel like she was one of those kind of annoying characters, a bit bratty at the beginning, and you saw the development and the change throughout. And that kind of was like in Last Christmas. I think because it's so basic, I'm not going to score it as high as Last Christmas. Mm-hmm. It's probably going to be a solid 7 for me. So a lot more generous and gracious with the scoring for this one compared to you. And I definitely think it's one of those things I would watch it again. I think this is a thing with Christmas films. I've got a list of films that I love to watch that I can't watch with Paul. Like, I would love to review Christmas with the Cranks with you. You'd proper upset me, but you would make me upset.
Maybe some point down the line when we get to that. I don't know if the people are interested in a review me squirming in my seat watching that.
Come on, I've squirmed in my seat enough. I went through the whole Halloween session and you did not go lightly on me. So to be
honest, I could have gone a lot worse with the choice I picked, but
you weren't kind though.
I think I was.
I don't think you were. Anyways, I hope you've really, really enjoyed listening to Paul squirm a little bit. I have. I really have.
The next time we're going down the anime route again with watching another Christmas film we both haven't seen yet, and I can't really believe we haven't actually sat and watched it yet. Because I've had it in my DVD pile for a good while now, and that is Tokyo Godfathers.
Now, I'm not sure how I feel about this one. I think I've been one that's been digging my heels a little bit.
Yes, I don't know what to expect with this one, but I think it'll be a good one to look at. I think something a bit different again, but it kind of nicely wraps up on the fact that this will be our 50th episode next week. So we've gone 50 episodes where we started with an anime, and we're 50 episodes on and we're covering an anime. So
sounds about apt for us. I just hope that I enjoy this one because I think it's the title with Godfather. I've been scarred a little bit, but we'll see how that goes, and I'll branch out into the next episode. So stay tuned for my rant about Godfather.
Yeah, we'll see where it turns out. So look out for that, and of course, please go check out all our other episodes on Podbean, Spotify, iTunes, wherever else you might get your podcasts from. And of course, give us a follow, a like, a recommendation to your friends via Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram especially. And also don't forget we have our little merch store set up on TeePublic as well, where you can get things like t-shirts, vests, notebooks, and masks as well for these times that we're still in.
Well, I hope that this has brought a little bit of Christmas cheer and a little bit of fun, and that's what these episodes are for, especially with everything going on in the world at the moment. I hope that it kind of helps, and I hope that you actually go and watch Noelle, because if you've got little ones, they will love it.
Yeah, all I'll say is if you do really embrace the whole Christmas cheer, then you will probably like it more than I will. So that's not to reflect on my particular points. I just didn't
It's
like
just,
it too much, but Sophie's more on akin with how things are with Christmas, so
Exactly.
she recommends it.
yes,
Me not so much, but there we go.
But Paul's a little bit of a Grinch, just a little bit. But to be fair, my favourite Christmas movie is The Grinch, so no wonder I love you.
So thank you very much, everybody, and we'll speak to you next time.
Take care now, everyone, and we'll speak to you next time.
Bye now.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.